25 at a little after 7. And I'll start with roll call with Mr. Wimmer.
Paul Wimmer, City Council Member.
Mike Warrington, City Council Member, last meeting.
Ronnie Price, Mayor.
Homer, City Council Member.
Phil Hamilton, City Council Member.
Tim Berry, City Council Member.
Bob Buchanan, Police Chief.
Rick Lance, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Julie Boyd, Interim Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Chad Russell, Fire Chief.
Matt Kane, Director of Finance.
JT Klaus, City Attorney.
Dana Engstrom, City Clerk.
Les Mangus, Director of Community Development.
Jolene Graham, Assistant City Administrator. Jennifer McCausland, City Administrator.
Oh, my turn. I'm sorry, I drew a blank. Eric Goodman, Center Point Church, is going to lead us in invocation. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Thank you. It's good to be here. Let's pray. Dear Lord and gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, just for allowing us to come out tonight. And thank you for the group that's here tonight. And we just ask you to guide and direct this meeting, Lord, and give us wisdom and all the decisions that need to be made. And we thank you for the police officers, Lord, and the firemen, Lord, that serve our community so faithfully, and the council members, Lord, here tonight. And we just ask you to give them all wisdom, Lord, as we go through this meeting tonight. And we're thankful for this season, Lord, the holiday season of Christmas. And we ask you just to help us to stop and remember the reason for the season, and that we would even just pause for a few moments and just thank you for what you have done for us and bringing the Savior of the world. And we ask you just to bless this meeting tonight, and we'll thank you for what you do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. All right. At this time, I'll open the floor for a public forum. If you'd like to speak to us, state your name, your address, and please keep it short. All these folks, no one wants to talk. Goodness. All right. Public forum's now closed. Acceptance of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that Mike that second?
Yeah, it was kind of a tie, so.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Presentations, and I'll be moving away from here for a minute. I didn't know Mike and Phil had so many friends. This is the biggest audience we've had all year. All right. I'm going to say a few words about the outgoing council members. I'll start with Michael Warrington. Mike was first elected to Andover City Council in November 2017 and has served the last 8 years. Councilmember Warrington has lived in Andover since 2012. He and his wife Anna have been married since 1996 and have 3 children, Aubrey, I'm going to say this wrong, man, Bridger
Yeah. Audrey Bridger.
and Jane.
Jane.
It's a shame that I don't know. I'm going to share many of the committees and council, I'm going to share many of the committees Councilman Warrington worked on over the last 8 years of service. Please forgive me if I miss any, my friend. Site plan review, Convention and Visitor Bureau, Grant of Public Funds, Strategic Planning Steering Committee, WAMPO, which is Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, and he stepped up and did that for me, and I appreciate it more than I could ever say. I'll probably be calling him to ask him what I do next, because I'll be starting that in February. But I appreciate it. Councilman Warrington served as the city council, president of the city council in 2022 and 23, and had to hold my hand on occasion because I didn't know what I was doing. Councilmember Warrington has been a part of numerous projects, just to name a few. 2024 to 2033 comprehensive plan, IRB policy amendment, Lakeview Heights paving improvements, and I'll say something on that. Mike was the leader on something I talked to the folks here tonight about if the neighbors want 51% gravel roads in town. So if the neighbors want 51%, Mike led the charge on the neighborhood paying half and the city of Andover paying the other half. So that was something he championed. And Redbud Trail restroom, heritage development, neighborhood revitalization plans, Parks and Recreation Playbook 2030, wastewater collection master plan and resulting in wastewater plant expansion. And I'm going to say this right because I've said it wrong before, Central Park Disc Golf Course. And Mike was also part of as many of the council members was part of the first TIF district in Andover, the first CID district in Andover, and was a champion for the Heritage Square in the beginning before when I was against it. So bravo. He has also been involved in many developments and annexations over the year. Phil Hamilton appointed to city council in December of 2023 by a very handsome mayor of Andover, lived in Andover for the majority of his life, went down and did mission work in Florida for a couple years. Otherwise, he's been here the whole time. Married to his wife, Jacqueline, and has two sons, Braxton and very recently, Jordan. Enjoys tennis, ping pong, watching football, and Harry Potter marathons. Councilmember Hamilton served as a liaison to the USD 385 and the library board during his term. Councilmember Hamilton also served on the salary study consult selection committee for 2024. As a CPA, he has provided an expert eye to review all financial matters coming before the governing body over the last 2 years, and recently signed up to be on the board of the Andover Historical Museum. Both gentlemen have been a part of many great things just in the last 2 years. The completion of Fire Station number 2. I could memorize all this, but I can't. Fire Station number 1 remodel, Fire Station Park, the lodge that we all love so much, the 13th Street Sports Park, Harry Street Park, which if y'all haven't been out there, I recommend going and enjoying it. Heritage Park Plaza, and by the way, that sculpture in the middle of up by the Heritage, that is a city park, and you can walk your dogs, walk your family, do whatever you want out there. That's sometimes confused as part of the Heritage, but that is a city park. Other projects and events they have been part of include the following: Founder Parkway Improvement Project completion, the first annual Heritage Fest, creation of a land bank, which is very important to our community, venue management agreement with Legends Global, Capitol Federal Amphitheater, Yorktown Parkway improvements in progress right now, logo design, and many, many more things. I asked Mike and Phil to come forward, and we got something for you. And President of the Council, Homer, is going to come as well. Good job, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You All right.
Thank you for the present and award there. I really do appreciate it. And it feels like it was just yesterday. And then you throw in, a couple years on planning before that too. So it's 10 years. And, I've seen, quite a bit of council members and staff and 2 mayors and 2 city administrators, 2 police chiefs. And it could go on.
Yeah.
But, it's been a pleasure. Am I going to miss it? I don't know. Maybe. I've always liked being the opponent, of trying to think of things, another way, a better way, thinking of things for the future, and not just now or, next week. And so, we've gone through many, strategic plans over the years, and I just encourage, you guys and the new council members coming in to, think of the future, think of what the citizens want. You are their guide. You are a person that, was elected to, from their thoughts. And even though you have your own, but you're still leading in their way. We all, went through the tornado,
COVID.
and it was, crazy. We all came together. It was, the staff was amazing. We've seen a lot. I've seen a lot in the last 10 years, but all the different things and we brought to Andover and made it the fastest growing city in the state, so really cool. If you got a question, you can call me. I can talk to you now. I told somebody, I'm not retiring. I'm just stepping away. Spend more time with my family. Stay a couple days, late from the lake and don't show up till Wednesday or something. So I appreciate it.
I'll add one thing that the mayor left off the list of things that I accomplished. Everybody thought I was joking when I said I was going to help wax the Heritage Man sculpture. But I'll have you know that Jesse Martinez and I waxed every inch of that Heritage Man sculpture over lunch one day. So that was one of my highlights. And I have no clue how I ended up here, guys. I didn't have this on my bingo card ever in my life. I've lived here almost all my life, and I don't tell people this story because I don't want them to know it. But when I was taking the CPA exam, very ironically, when I took the tax piece of that, I knew I had passed it. And when I got my score, I didn't pass it by 1 point. And I was like, do I really want to do this? And I made a promise to myself that night that if I would go back and take it and pass it, I would use my skill set to do good in the community. And I think this was a piece of that. And I'm just grateful that I've got to give back to a community that has poured so much into my life and helped me to kind of get where I'm at personally and professionally. I have a 15-day-old right now, so I'm slightly sleep deprived. So if anything I say tonight doesn't make sense, we're just going to blame it on that.
No, you seem about the same.
It's about the same. For me, it wasn't really a sacrifice to sit up here. For my family, it was quite big of a sacrifice. And so I would not have been able to sit up here without the support of my son. and my wife, they sacrificed a lot for me to sit up there, and it's because of them that I was able to sit up here. And so that's all I got.
I want to ditto that with, gosh, the kids being in high school for, gosh, the first, several years and more, and just, missing some things and being late, coming here late, sacrificing just, time, with Anna. So I appreciate.
All right. That it? All right. All right, 7-1, recognition of, we did that, Ronnie. 8-1, proclamation, individual golf championship. Phil is going to read this proclamation.
Whereas in October 2025 at the Emporia Golf Course, Andover native and Andover High School senior Reagan Dusenberry captured the Kansas Class 5A Individual State Championship, and whereas she had a dominant two-day score of 139, winning by 9 strokes, and whereas Reagan's opening round of 68, including 7 birdies and wind gusts exceeding 30 miles per hour, and whereas after 2 consecutive runner-up finishes at the Kansas Class 5A State Championship, Reagan demonstrated resilience and determination in pursuing her long-held goal. And whereas Reagan has exemplified excellence, perseverance, and sportsmanship throughout her high school golf career, and whereas Reagan was coached by Ryan Harshaw, and whereas her victory also contributed to Andover High School's state runner-up team finish, the program's best result since 2018, and she joins the distinguished ranks of Andover State champions. And therefore, I, Phil Hamilton, with the City Council assembled in regular session on the 9th day of December 2025, hereby proclaim December 10th, 2025, Reagan Dusenberry Individual Golf Championship Day.
All right. Congratulations. 4. 9, milestone awards is next, and we will start with Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Matt Perez couldn't be here tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and give a quick thank you out to him and kind of recognition of his 5 years. Matt has been with us 5 years as serving as the engineering and stormwater technician. His duties include keeping the city in compliance with EPA regulations regarding stormwater and outreach and other functions that are come along with that. In addition to stormwater responsibilities, he's involved in production of street rehabilitation project documents and plans, and is the field representative during construction of these projects. Matt's efforts over the past 5 years to save considerable amount of funds that would have been diverted to hiring outside inspection, and those funds have been able to be rediverted back into work on the streets. Keeps the money going towards the streets. Allowing those dollars to be reinvested in additional street improvements is paid dividends for us over those 5 years. I'll keep this brief, but you can look out for him this summer and spring because we have quite a few resurfacing projects on some major roads coming, and he'll be out there doing his part to make sure that we keep them on tack and keep quality product at the end. Thank you.
Right. You're not here?
No, he's not here.
Next is Buck Buchanan, Captain.
Oh, you just promoted Jason.
I mean, Chief, I'm sorry, man.
Golly. I thought you were promoting Jason. It's like, hey, he's happy now. Mayor, Council, thank you so much. Tonight, we love these awards. I think they're wonderful being able to do in front of family, friends, coworkers, and everything else. But tonight, we're celebrating Jason Arnold. Lieutenant Jason Arnold began his career in Andover back in November 2010. He successfully completed his training academy at the KLATC number 211 on May 6th of 2011. But prior to that, he serving the city of Andover. He was in the U.S. Navy, where he served a 7-month tour in Iraq. And then also he served time in Bahrain from October 15th through September of 16. So while he was here, he also was doing his reserve time and helping the Navy as well. During his time in the Navy, he was a CB for the Navy Reserves. Also, and I don't get this one at all, but he was on the sub, so it takes a special person to really work on one of those. My dad was 33 years in the Navy, so I got to spend time around it, but I'm like, goodness gracious, to be on a sub, that's underwater that long is definitely tough. So he's currently one of the patrol lieutenants, one of 4 that serves our department, and some of his extra duties. There's a lot that our lieutenants to do besides their regular patrol duties and having to support their teams, but he's also the community outreach social media coordinator, a field training officer, the mobile video recorder system manager, a lot of such big titles there, social media strategist, and the big one I think is a lot of work is the neighborhood association coordinator or HOA coordinator. So there's a lot he has to do with that that people just don't see and how that runs smoothly and assigning officers to those. Very important. In 2020, he graduated the Kansas University Public Manager Citizens Law Enforcement Leadership Academy. In 2021, he graduated the Kansas Police Administrator Seminar, KPAS, and he was also the recipient of the 2023 Officer of the Year Award. One interesting thing with Jason, though, we just mentioned the tornado, and I didn't put this on here, and it made me think of that. You know, when we talk about that, he was working that day. So the initial hit, excuse me, was this lieutenant trying to coordinate and getting things going until everyone else can arrive and start working. So he was a major part of that, trying to get things established and controlled chaos as much as we could until other people can arrive to that. So kudos to Jason and his team for that part. He's an extremely hard worker, and it's things that, you know, we have different things, our mission and our values. So Jason, what I loved about it during that time as well, we kind of were doing it together. He was going back and getting his bachelor's degree, which he was able to receive that in 2023. So in order for his team to know the importance of that education, he was a model of that, saying, hey, I'm going back and doing this while also trying to lead a team. So amazing job during that transition, during that part as well. He is the first trained member of the Honor Guard for Andover. We don't officially have our uniform yet, but he's going to look forward to coming in and showcasing that once we get it. But it is being built right now, and he will be, again, he's trained in doing that and representing the department in so many different levels outside of just the normal duties that we have. He's Mr. Fix-It, and this is what's very special about him is he saves the department a lot of money. So there's times where we can go out and we can bring somebody in to fix something. His first thing is, let me see what I can do first. Part of that CB's background he's got, but it's still, he's a locksmith. He's changed a garage door opener himself before we send somebody out there, and he's like, nope, I can do it. Just let me have at it. Our treadmill machine saved us a lot of money on fixing that one. When they said it was going to cost a lot of money to replace or to do it, Jason jumped on it, and it's still working. So not just fixing stuff, but he makes it to where it'll last even longer. Part of that is Wise Resources, and that's what Jason looks at. He's like, how can we save our citizens money? Because he values what he does and what he can do for our city. He doesn't like this. I'm going to say it anyways, but one of his biggest accomplishments, and I'm proud of him as well. It's not out there yet, or it is just not here in the city yet, but he was promoted as a Navy Chief Petty Officer this year. So that's a massive accomplishment because only so many people can make that rank while also working within his current duties and stuff. So amazing accomplishment that we're really proud of you, Jason, on that one. So please join me in congratulating Lieutenant Jason Arnold with his 15 years with the city of Andover. It's much well appreciated.
Thank you very much for this. I appreciate it. And I hope to be here 15 more. Oh, you didn't get that face, did you? Thank you.
All right, next is Chief Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I get the honor and pleasure tonight of talking about a 20-year employee. I hear stories all the time about the world is just not the same place it used to be. People don't stay at jobs like they used to. Well, Captain Chris Matson has not only served as a full-time firefighter for you in the city of Andover for 20 years, but he volunteered for 5 years before that, before he got hired on. So 25 years of service. Captain Matson, you know the drill. You got to come stand up here while I talk about you. They love this part.
Yeah, I did.
So he was hired in 2005, started volunteering in 2000, hired in 2005. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2015 and then captain in 2017. So Chris is our only training captain, and it is really one of the most influential positions in the fire service. He gets the opportunity to have an effect on every rank from the top all the way to the bottom and everywhere in between, and gets to influence the way we interact with those we serve. He displays behind the scenes excellence. So the transition to a training captain really takes you off the rig most of the time, and you don't get to help patients as much. You don't get to get on the hose as much, but you affect everyone who is doing that job. And so he works a ton behind the scenes. He coordinates training schedules, he coordinates the staff cars, he coordinates hotels to make sure that all of your firefighters are getting what they need when they travel. Also, he leads by example. It would not be right to have a training captain who didn't believe in training and education, right? Captain Matson definitely believes in training and education. He is a lifelong learner, and he always is taking the availability to get involved in training opportunities when he can, including a prestigious course that, a set of courses that he's involved in that I probably shouldn't even announce because he doesn't want me to talk about it. But he is in the Chief Officer Leadership Program through the International Association of Fire Chiefs. And when he completes that, he will be the only Chief Officer Leadership graduate that the city of Andover has. So he is definitely setting the example by going above and beyond in his education. He recently worked with a group of our folks to completely overhaul the way we train our brand new firefighters. We call it the Firefighter and Training Program, or the FIT program. And Captain Matson worked with a bunch of others to really guide the ship on how that was going to look and completely revamp how we train those firefighters. We took it from a multi-month course down to a couple of weekends, and then they come on for basically OJT, and they get to interact with the crews. And while it wasn't his idea, he was absolutely instrumental in making sure that it got put into place. And I think it's really working very, very well. He's absolutely committed to the service that you get. He's not only committed to make sure that you're getting service from the firefighters, but he's also a responding duty officer. Sometimes we call him an on-call duty officer, but he's not on call. He's responding. There's a difference. The difference is on-call folks answer a call. He responds. He has the same turnout time restrictions that the firefighters that are in the building have. He has to get ready, be in his truck no matter where he is. He gives up nights and weekends. 3 a.m. when you and I are snug in our beds, he is one of the ones that goes out and runs emergency calls, whether he's home or at the fire station. Either way, a tremendous amount of dedication to continue to do that. I just want to take a pause for just a minute that make sure that everyone in the room understands. We talked about the sacrifice that the elected officials' families make, and I truly believe that is definitely a sacrifice. And your staff's families make sacrifices that are similar. And I just want to thank his wife for making the sacrifice to give him to all of us and allow him to serve us. It's a great sacrifice. I know he's missed a lot of birthdays and a lot of Christmases and a lot of middle of the nights and a lot of dinners interrupted and et cetera. So thank you very much for your dedication to our community as well. For those of you who didn't hear, she said we can have him because she gets the thermostat when he's gone. More behind the scenes work is done when he spends his time teaching our neighbors CPR. If you received a CPR class from Andover Fire in the last year or two, he's probably the guy that taught you how to do that. As a matter of fact, just in the last couple of days, a couple of dozen folks at the senior center have and will receive CPR and AED and first aid education from Chris. The Andover community is better off because Captain Matson has devoted 2 decades of his life to serving here. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. 10:1 through 10:5 consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve consent agenda items 10.1 through 10.5 as presented.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 11:1 boundary declaration resolution. And somebody gonna talk about that? Okay.
Julie.
I'd be happy to talk to you about that tonight, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you a resolution prepared by your legal staff and also a legal description prepared by your engineering team at PEC to be in accordance with KSA 12-517, which states before the last day of December in any year in which any territory has been added to or excluded from any city, the governing body of such city shall declare by resolution the entire boundary of the city. In 2025, you had 3 consent annexations, and the map that you see on the screen now outlines those 3 additions to our city boundary. Southern Hills is clear at the south end of the city. Train Enterprise Edition is the island annexation clear to the east on Highway 54. And Green Meadow Edition is here just north and east of City Hall. Attaches a resolution. If you have any questions specifically about it, our legal counsel is here to answer any questions.
Anyone? No.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a resolution to declaring the legal boundary of the city of Andover as of December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing intent to annex South McCandless Road. And I need to open a public hearing.
I'll interrupt here for just a second. On September 30th, you all adopted a resolution of intent to annex this South McCandless Road property. But there is an error in the mailing that has occurred as it relates to the postage that was put on the mailing. And so if you're so inclined to continue with this annexation, you have no choice but to repeat that resolution of intent tonight. That being said, that would mean the resolution of intent would call a public hearing on February 10th. However, most of the mailings about tonight's public hearing got through. There's only a small number that were returned for insufficient postage. While that is a legal flaw that we have to fix, it is our recommendation tonight that you go ahead and open a public hearing and let people speak. If they came on December 9th to speak on this topic and want to speak, they should totally be able to do so, with an understanding that they will effectively have another bite at the apple on February 10th, because we will have to repeat this. So that would be our recommendation. One thing I did want to confirm, I understand that staff has confirmed with the post office that they didn't collect the insufficient postage from anyone. So we don't have to worry that actually somebody had to pay for having received the letter. But that being said, we know of 4 people who didn't receive it because it didn't have the postage on it. And so for that basis, we're going to have to legally repeat the proceedings. So I'm going to encourage you to open the public hearing. I want you to understand that we will not be adopting an ordinance to annex the property, even if you're inclined to do so. Instead, the action item will be effectively to repeat an inducement resolution and call a new public hearing for this topic. If nobody has any questions about that, then I think, Mr. Mayor, you can open the public hearing and let anyone who's here tonight who wants to speak.
And does the public hearing stay open or is it closed after they get done speaking?
We'll go ahead and close this public hearing and open another public hearing pursuant to the resolution, assuming you want to proceed and adopt the inducement resolution tonight. We would ask people to limit their comments to 5 minutes as is typical, and we'll keep track of that here.
Okay. So, at this time, I will open the public forum. Any of you that would like to come up and speak, state your name. We have your, if you filled out the paperwork, we have your name and address. Come up and speak and keep it at 5 minutes. And if we could keep it from being redundant, that would be nice too. So, all right. So anyone like to speak, go to the podium and we'd love to hear from you.
Bronco Jackson at 706 South McCandless. For the annexation, I'm wanting to know exactly what the benefit will be to us as far as the property owners, what kind of restrictions we're going to have, what abilities, conditions will be greater for us. I know there is a number of already petitions that's going around for our community. So just wanting to know what the benefit really is going to be for us in this neighborhood.
How do we address that? Or do we,
If the council wants staff to try and answer the question, we can do that.
Yes.
Okay. The detriments, of course, with respect to annexation is that you are included in the city and therefore are included in the city's mill levy. And at the same time, you are relieved from any township that you are in and any township mill levy they have. They don't say that to be cutesy because, of course, those two mill levies are significantly different, but it does remove you from the township. The benefits of inclusion in the city are all the protections of the city police department, city fire, city services, city road maintenance, city response, and everything that taxes in the city pay for, including if there is a differential on any use of the parks or anything like that for non-residents, you become a resident of the city. Some will probably not consider this a benefit, but you get to vote in municipal elections. You would vote for the mayor and you would vote for the city council, and you'd have a role and an opportunity, quite frankly, to run for municipal government. I'm sure I'm better at communicating the benefits than I am the detriments. One benefit and detriment you receive is that you are entitled to the protection and the obligation of all of the city's municipal laws. So you'd be entitled to the protection of the Uniform Public Offense Code and also compliance with the standard traffic ordinances if you are included in the city. That's about the best summary I can come up with off the top of my head, and I imagine your city administrator has a couple of items that she can add.
The only other thing, JT did a great job there, that I think is unique is that, and this was included in the memo, which is available to the public. If anyone needs assistance guiding to the packet, we'd be happy to guide you to that. Our city clerk could be talked to after this. She could step outside and show you. This is a really unique annexation in that when you consider the fact that your sewer bill will actually reduce because you will now be in-town payers based on an average cost of home. And obviously that's average, so there's going to be outliers on either side of that. But the average property owner will have a reduction in yearly charges when you lump together those utility savings and the tax differentials between township and city. So that's unique because I will tell you that often that is not the situation people find themselves in when they are annexed. But I do not believe there to be much or maybe any financial detriment to those who will be annexed.
and I talked to a few of you, and your concern is what we will do with your roads. If you do not want your road paved, we will not just automatically come out and pave your road. 51% of you have to decide that we want our road paved. And as I explained with Mr. Warrington, he championed that the city is willing to pay up to 50% that you will not have to pay. One of the downsides, and I'm just going to be straight honest with you, is you will be required to pay for recycling trash. Everybody does it. I had to do it. I didn't like it. Now I love recycling. My wife is not good at it, but I am good at it. So there is that's one disadvantage, but you're not going to have wholesale changes. All right. Anyone else like to come up and speak to us? Yes, ma'am.
City Council members, thank you for hearing from us tonight. My name is Amber Preboth, and I'm speaking on behalf of my family and a large number of residents of South McCandless Road. I stand before you with deep respect, but also with firm conviction, because the city's own documents make it unmistakably clear this annexation is not appropriate at this time. It's not urgent, not necessary, not service-driven, and not consistent with the policies and values that the city of Andover has adopted and publicly committed to uphold. On page 2 in the annex investigation, it identifies the true driver. Failure to annex could have an adverse effect on implementation of the US 54-400 corridor study. Not a word about protecting residents, not a word about safety deficiency, not a word about failing services, just a warning that annexing our neighborhood now gives the city better control over future planning objectives tied to the corridor vision that spans 10, even 50 years in the future. Your plan calls for reinvestment in underserved neighborhoods, yet your service plan plainly states that there will be no investment at all. Under drainage, no improvement proposed. Under streets, improvements deferred until residents petition and pay. Under hydrants, requires petition. There are no sidewalks, no bike paths, no stormwater upgrades. And that is the heart of the matter. A city that annexes a predominantly low-income rural neighborhood without offering any plan to support or integrate the neighborhood is not expanding opportunity, it's expanding burden. A lawful annexation plan should give residents clarity, not confusion. It should spell out how and when services will change, what timeline the city intends to follow, and what transition period residents can expect before full code enforcements begin. None of that exists here. This service plan provides no timetable for integrating our neighborhood, no explanation of how code enforcement will be phased in, no grandfathering guidance for rural properties, and no disclosure of when zoning, nuisance, or animal regulations will start applying. Cities across Kansas outline these details because they understand that sudden enforcement on rural families without a transitional period can be oppressive and destabilizing. Yet Andover's plans offer nothing, no roadmap, no protection, no grace period, no financial analysis. It simply declares that services will be provided on the same basis as the rest of the city, while quietly placing the financial burden of paving, drainage, hydrant upgrades entirely on McCandless residents. Those costs could exceed millions of dollars. We have no idea how much that would cost us. And finally, the city plan makes one other promise. Annexation should occur when it supports the efficient extension of services, but every major service, water, sewer, fire, police, is already provided. The annexation report itself is explicit, and I quote, "No change in the level of service is expected. No additional personnel, vehicles, or equipment will be required." If services will not change and infrastructure will not improve and safety will not increase and the residents themselves did not ask for annexation, then why now? The only answer in your packet for us is the US 54-400 corridor study. That is a future vision, not a present necessity. For these reasons, and based on the city's own policy language, its own service plan, and its own comprehensive plan, we respectfully ask you to vote no, or at a minimum, to table this annexation until a resident-centered plan, one that does not impose hardship or displacement, can be created. Thank you. I also have a petition with well over 50%. And by the time February comes, I'm sure it will be 100. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Cassandra Yules at 756 South McCandless. And one of the other pieces that was brought up earlier were things that are pros and cons for our road and what could come about for us. You guys did list some positives that could be there. One of those things was that we would save a little money on a few things. However, one thing that we do have a benefit currently, we are at 6.5% taxation. Kansas is taxation based off of destination, which means that if we become part of the city of Andover, that means we change to 8.5%. Now, there is lined out in that packet a negative, I believe it's 137 that we could save on those few line items that are there. However, that does mean if we switch to 8.5% taxes, that means that anything that we have delivered to us, any product or service that happens at our address, we would be charged that 2% extra in difference in taxes. Isn't the biggest deal when you look at small things, but when you look at larger items and the impact it has over a longer period of time, that $137 a year that we may be saving on a few utility bills doesn't exactly end up in the negative still for us. So that's one thing that I think could be a con. Another thing that just thinking about, I believe Amber kind of mentioned it as well. We do have access to a lot of the resources still of being part of Andover. So in that packet, one thing it mentioned was like access to the library. However, City of Andover Library is part of a regional library system that allows all people, not just City of Andover residents, to it, which is fantastic. But that means our tax dollars are going to that because it's going to that regional facility. It's also going to all of the other small town libraries that needs that money too. We are part of a bigger community, not just Andover. And that is a benefit that we would lose and other communities lose out on that money too. I believe somewhere in that packet, it lists us as 0.53% of a financial benefit as it stands now to the city of Andover in the taxing. And I could have read that wrong, so let me know. But that's the way I took that portion of it. That 0.53% does not make a large difference for the city of Andover, for the City of Andover Library, because that's the example I have. But it does make a larger difference to our smaller communities that we're a part of, that we get the benefit of being a part of. And so if we are combined into the City of Andover, that does limit our ability to affect our greater community. As well, I know the roads are something that several of us are worried about, but also we do have a good community as it stands now, regardless of being part of Andover. I don't think what we say today will change your minds just because of the way that is laid out. I'm aware of that, but I do know that what you've said in that 400 and some page packet about the Activate Andover Comprehensive Plan, your idea is to do effective growth and also to have a community that stands by what you're doing. Right now, I don't think our community, our road stands by this. I do think that you could change our minds in the future, but right now it doesn't stand that we really gain anything. I think the road is maybe the only thing that maybe is a benefit to some people, maybe. Right now, there's not as much positive as there is negative for us. And so I just wish that you would consider that and consider, I mean, it lines out in there, if you average it out, about 100 people, about 35 families that you're affecting. how they're able to go about. And right now, economically overall is not the best time for a lot of people. So to add additional things such as taxes and things like that isn't the best timing either. So all that to say, we have a great community, but we're not sure that this is the best time for us overall. Nothing against Andover, but just thinking about our community, small and big. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
How's it going? I'm Philip Kubish, 556 South McCandless. I had a question based off the document that you guys have posted in regard to the annexation on the tax side of things. I know she had mentioned the 137 and negative, obviously, as it being a benefit. That's with the trash and recycling at 417, which we're only paying $70 right now every quarter because we don't do the recycling. So that would negate $170 that you have negative. So it really still increase our costs. And then my other question in regards to that is on page 21, it says city property tax revenue would increase by $31,161. So my question is, if I add up that 256 times 34 houses, that would be 250. That would be, and then the mercantile's 2,089. That's just over $10,000. So I'm just wanting to make sure that there wasn't a mistake and that $31,000 in taxes is going to be split between 34 properties, because that's more like $800, not only 256 average. So I don't know if anybody had.
That's not a mistake.
Okay.
So what you're seeing there is the difference in what an individual is going to pay, but where you're paying it is also moving. So some of that money that you're currently paying to a fire district or to the interlibrary that you're paying today that was mentioned earlier, that's correct. Except you don't pay that library assessment when you're in a city. That comes in through your city tax.
Gotcha.
And that's how we pay for the Andover Library.
Okay. So it's gotcha. Okay. That was my biggest question. I do agree that I don't think, obviously with what Amber said, and I'm sorry, I don't remember. Cassandra said, I would agree that I don't think it's necessary at this point. I think a lot of the residents that me and Amber went up and down and did get a petition signed. And I think everybody we talked to was like, you know, if they were doing the road, if the road was going to be paid for and that was a benefit to us, then yeah, we'd think about it. But at this point, with having even 50%, who knows what that's, I think our point is we don't have any idea what that's going to cost. It's great that you guys are willing to pay 50%, but if that 50% is still $1.5 million, that's still a lot of money divided between 34 residents. So I think that's a lot of people's concern is, hey, if this was all going to get paved and it didn't cost us money, then that's a benefit to us. But if we don't see that benefit, it doesn't make a lot of sense to add a lot of extra. In our mind, it feels like restrictions on properties and things like that. And I get, from what Amber said, obviously the 54 corridor and what you guys are trying to do in that area, and we totally understand that, but it just doesn't seem like it's necessary at this time. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I respond for a second?
Sure.
Okay. Philip, that was, great. I want to try to convince you, and maybe the rest of y'all too. The 6.5 to 8.5% taxes on, most goods that you're already purchasing. The difference of that is what helps you, is what helps the city in the protection of the fire, the police, anything that comes up, Andover will be there for you. And the going on the expansion of 54, the first phase is already started and is expected to, let's remind me, be nearly finished by 29-ish. Mm-hmm. And then the second phase, which is going through you, will already be awarded And so not, 10, 50 years down the road, so at that point, it's actually, we're speaking to KDOT, the city is doing everything it can to protect, the entrances, how you get in and out, the access roads and everything.
I think the biggest thing that I think Amber laid out, because obviously it has a super long read, the 430 pages of like the plan of 10 years. I think that I saw more direction in our area and the 2012 to 2023 was than I did in the new one of like specifically for our area. So I think that that's where a lot of residents are more concerned, is that it just doesn't seem like it's super clear for us what that looks like. And so that's why it seems unnecessary for us, because we don't see, hey, yeah, they're going to be putting a road through here, or this is where we're going to have to enter now, and this is going to close off. So I think that's where a lot of the hesitation comes from, is it doesn't seem super clear for us, I would say.
Phase 2 is almost finished in design right now.
Okay.
And we may even have some of the sketches to show you.
Yeah.
And that's something that you probably need to see.
Yeah.
As well. And so planning can share that. Even if it's not 100%, you can still see it. If it's moves 5 feet, 10 feet or whatever, you can still see what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
I mean, the phase 1 was done 15 years ago. And then it's, gotten better, as it's moved around and such, but, and then, I worked really hard on trying to get, the city to pay more for, going from a dirt to gravel road.
Yeah.
From that to a paved road. And before that, you had to have curb and gutter.
Yeah.
It was mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have drainage pipes. And even in like neighborhoods like mine, at Lakeview Heights, and the one across the street, which is kind of a part of Lakeview Heights, and other ones that are still like that, the neighborhood the mayor lives in. Those aren't conducive for, curb and gutter, and yours isn't either.
Yeah.
And so, ditches, fit.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper, a lot cheaper. And, we had, and I'll tell you this will help. We had 65 lots that, you have half that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have also 30% less roads than we do in Lakeview Heights. And right now we pay, I think, $105 a month in specials. And that's not a lot for a brand new road that's going to last you for 15, 20 years. And when it starts to degrade a little bit, the city be right there, because we have an awesome plan. To keep it updated. And if the ditches, do anything weird, they are there to make sure they're cleaned out. And, but, obviously that part of the right of way, is what you're already maintaining already.
Well, I appreciate, I think I'll speak for myself. I don't want to speak for everybody as a whole in some of these instances, but for myself, I appreciate you having the conversation, because I think that's definitely helpful. The going back and forth and explaining some of that. And I think that that's where a lot of residents were caught off guard, is because we don't know, even if the city's going to pay 51%, if you say, okay, for the next 10 years, it's $100 a month, there you might get 50% of the people say, yeah, that's worth having asphalt roads for that. But we just, without knowing what that is, it's hard to make it. It's hard to say, we're for this, because we don't know.
Give me just a second. The prior administration annexed in Bicentennial, and you'll be hard pressed to find someone in Bicentennial that aren't 100 times happier with the care of their roads than they were under the township.
Which is that the neighborhood to this north of us?
Yeah.
Yes, and
Archer
to the
and-
east of the Heritage.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes,
we-
just east of the Heritage.
We haven't made them go on, they're not on city water. We haven't made them do anything, but I can tell you with all certainty, you're hard pressed to find someone that aren't a lot happier with the care of their roads, because our street department's second to none.
Yeah. I think we owned a property in that neighborhood when it got annexed. And I think that The hard thing with that is, the same happened in our neighborhood. Of a lot of the residents were under the impression that the road was part of it, of like the city's going to pave the road, like that's going to be done. We don't have to worry about it. And that's not the case. And I think that when I spoke with, I wouldn't say everybody, but I spoke with several neighbors in the Bicentennial area, and a lot of people were under the impression that the water was going to be, because that's a big deal there. I know the well water is awful in that area. And so a lot of people were looking forward to, hey, we're going to get on city water. This is going to be good. But it goes back to,
Not
you
to
need a petition
51%.
and you need 51% to say yes. And it's going to cost this much money. And so I think that that's where, talking with some of the residents there when we owned the property over there, they felt like some of them, not to say the roads didn't get better, but they felt slighted in that they didn't, part of it is their fault for not doing the due diligence of saying the water is not included in this. But I think that's what we're saying. We don't know what that information is. So it's hard for us to say, yeah, we're for it when we don't even know what that means. So, but I do appreciate.
And the water, you know, in that neighborhood that you came from, it was close. It was almost, you know, above that.
It is
50.
really terrible well water.
It was just a few people that held that up from
going through,
you know, that neighborhood getting water. Which would have been great.
Yeah. Definitely a big improvement there because the well water.
And
is
I
not
want to
good.
throw a couple other things just real quick for all of y'all. Is, you know, you are surrounded, you know, by, you know, 3/4 of the way by, you know, the city. You travel on the city roads already. You're already, you know, going to Dillon's and you're paying higher taxes. You know, every time you go to Dillon's, I'm sure you probably all go there, and I do. I love it. And so, I mean, you're already, you know, participating in a lot of things that you don't think you are. But you're going to get all the protection, all of, if you want the roads. And we even have a plan that we can create, you know, within reason, what your neighborhood could pay if you did go through roads, if you wanted sidewalks. I mean, so, you know, yes, that won't happen in like a week, but it will take a little time, because that is one of the things that the city staff can put together and share with you to let you know that here are some improvements, and here are some potential costs, you know, for that. And so, you know, I don't want y'all to be angry. I want y'all to be part of the community, and you already are. And, you know, I'm sure your kids go to Andover schools. You drive on the roads to the schools right now. You go, you know, to any of the businesses in town, and your address is Andover, Kansas. So I want y'all to be part of it and feel proud of it.
I don't think we're angry. I think we're fearful, because this isn't a good enough explanation of a long-term commitment of going over into Andover. It's fearful because I know that everybody's stuck on the road situation, but to be quite honest, the way that Andover is expanding in growth and opportunity, the standards are high. And, you know, for the urban development, this is a very rural neighborhood, as you know, rural. And I think that people need to know what the situation is long-term. The code enforcement, I think, is very fearful for some people. What does that timeline look like? How do you want to see our neighborhood look like the rest of Andover? Because it sure doesn't. And so we need a timeline. We need to know, when will code enforcement start happening? Is that 6 months, a
So if
year?
I may, ma'am, because we'll be here all night long.
Mhm.
You have till February 10th or whatever it is to email staff and ask all these questions.
No, I don't. I just
No,
want,
but I'm just saying, we can't answer them here tonight. and We can't.
all I'm saying is that should have been in your plan.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying.
that's fine. Thank you. Does anyone else would like to speak? No?
I'm Marvin Rock, 801 McCandless. And I just have questions on a couple issues. One being water. We're on rural water now. And I believe I read it in there that we're going to stay on rural water for the foreseeable future. Is that correct?
Yep.
So how does that work? We're in the city, but we're
So, sir, a lot of the cities on rural water now, on the north end, it's not uncommon.
Oh, okay.
So rural water is where we get part of our water. Your lives are going to change pretty insignificant. And the reality is Andover is going to keep growing. We're the fastest growing city in the state, over 10,000. And there is it's just reality. When I bought my house, Andover Road and Central were 2-lane roads. During the daytime, it's almost impossible for me to turn left out of my neighborhood. Do I like it? No, but it's reality that we're going to keep growing and we'll do it the best we can without causing anyone harm. But the reality is the infrastructure is going out towards McCandless and it's not a matter of if, it's when. The new highway will go to Prairie Creek Road and it will start probably in early 29, maybe 30.
Yeah.
And so,
Amber hit on it when, we're a very rural neighborhood. Moved out there in 1985 and yeah, it was nice and peaceful and we were pretty isolated and that's all changed quite a bit over the years. And I get it. It's urban sprawl. But yeah, the reason I asked you about the water is the rural water is pretty expensive. And I don't know, but I assume that Andover City water is probably cheaper. So
Andover don't have water.
Well,
We
it
either
comes
get it
from
from
Wichita,
Wichita
right?
or we get it from rural water 5.
Isn't it still cheaper?
It's a very nuanced question. It depends on usage and it
Well, right,
depends.
but per thousand, I think it's,
Well, it's probably more nuanced than that even yet. And we're doing a lot of research on water, but the water is set, rural water does have territory boundaries, and that has been set for many, many, many decades, and that is not able to be changed by cities or others who might provide the water. So rural waters, their territory is their territory, and we don't get to change that territory.
okay. Okay, so to road maintenance, I don't think we're going to make any determination on any kind of pavement or anything anytime soon. So my immediate concern is once this goes through, how do you guys maintain gravel roads? How many road graders do you have for the city?
Rick?
We have one motor grader. We don't have a ton of gravel roads, so we cycle through those depending on the weather and how often, varies on how often it's needed. And then we will apply new material from time to time to bring the road up to condition. I guess my best example of how that would probably come through is how it did when we annexed Bicentennial. Within, I don't know, the first couple of weeks, we were out there, regraded the roads, recrowned the roads, and did a fairly decent amount of work out there. And then we continued to grade it on a pretty regular cycle and try to maintain the road the best we can in the state of a gravel road.
Our road has a really good base, but it tends to get potholes really, really bad.
Yeah.
And that's just really annoying. And to say Bruno Township has done a very, very poor job is a big understatement. I think everybody will second that. But
I promise you that our streets department is top notch. So living in my neighborhood, that had dirt gravel roads for 15 years, and we've only had paved roads for less than 2, or at 2. And they were always there. No one ever had to call them. They ride their roads. They know when they need to be there to fix things.
Okay.
And if you do ever call, they're going to be right there. I mean, that quick. It's so, over the years, in our neighborhood, we wanted to get rid of the dust, and it was worth it, and it has been worth it. I use less water with washing my car.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of things, but and you're not there yet, and that's fine. It could be 10 years down the road, but it's up to y'all at that point. What you want to do, but in the meantime, you're going to have really good maintenance on your roads.
So if it were to be paved, if we did get the 51% or whatever it takes, would it be the chip seal type pavement?
No,
It'd be actual pavement.
it would be actual asphalt.
Asphalt.
Asphalt pavement. Okay.
Nope, we won't do chip seal.
Okay.
We absolutely know why not. And a handful of people I talked to before the meeting tonight that live in the neighborhood that are here expressed how bad the roads are. That will change.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
All right. Thank you.
I would just suggest you all, come up with questions, write them down. If you want to put them all together, instead of everybody emailing separately, put them all together. I'm sure you have I don't know if you have an HOA, but if you have something, it's probably a good time to do one.
I don't have one either, Cassandra.
And have
I don't
one
know.
person put things together, and or 2 people, and bring it up to the city. The city staff will work with you and answer questions. And if you want to have a individual meeting with just you guys, I'm sure they could schedule something. And
So,
and it'll probably be in here, and it's just brainstorming things of what you want to in the future. But I don't. This has been on the list for a long time, and all of these properties that have been surrounded have been high on our list to bring into the city, because we want you to be part of it. So
I'll be honest, Bronco, Amber, Cassandra, Philip, and Marvin, to think we're not listening is not correct. We are listening to you. We'll address your concerns. Unfortunately, as the mayor of Andover, I have to make decisions for 16,000 people, and the governing body has to do that as well. But to think that we're not listening, I promise you this, the governing body is listening. And a young lady back there, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but I had her she's going to reach out to me about something that I don't know if I can fix, but I'm going to try. But that's all we can tell you is we truly believe that your neighborhood will be not disrupted, So, and future, we're going to grow, and I wrote a story about my property one time because I was going to sell it. And I was basically said, I had this little quiet community. I live over behind Dairy Queen, and the city grew around us. I've got mature trees, my yard's perfect, I got privacy, and the city grew around me. So I had a choice. Do I love my property, or do I make another decision? You know what I mean? So it's just a reality of growth, So anyone else would like to speak? All right, we're going to move on. Go ahead, sir. Are you going to put in a bid to pave the road? Is that what you're up to?
No, but I do work for APAC, yeah. So I kind of understand the whole
That's
paving
awesome.
thing and everything else. My name's Chris. I live at 600 South McCandless. It's Chris with a K. So, I mean, I'm listening to everybody, and I've lived on McCandless about 15 years. I got raised 3 daughters, got 2 more little ones. I have a couple things like if they pave the road, more people, and from what I've seen is the connection from the YMCA to our road and then our road to the other housing addition. Seems like a lot more traffic for, you know, the kids and being safety and being able to ride their bikes, you know. So that concerns me a little bit. And the next thing from this meeting I'm hearing is it's going to cost us money to be part of Andover, but we're already part of Andover. Like if I start a fire outside, you know, my fire pit's too big, the fire department comes out and tells me, do you have a permit? You know, and then they say, put it out. If I call the police, the sheriff comes, but if the sheriff's not available, Andover Police comes. So I feel like it's costing us more money than it's worth, is how I feel. And I just kind of like echo Philip and them. I'd like to see a plan of what's the plan of all this before I change my mind or stand on no and move.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of moved where I did. Was I was close to Andover. My wife grew up in Andover. I'm from Augusta. Don't hold me to that.
Me too.
But I just like being left alone. You know, I have a pit bull as a dog, and I'm outside of Andover. And I know Andover doesn't allow pit bulls.
Not
the case.
That's what I was under the understanding.
That changed.
But
4
I
years
mean,
ago.
it's one of my babies. You come up and the dog's gonna lick you to death. So
Nope, that's
there's
not
just
true.
concerns, you know,
That's
like
not true.
what if my wife decides she wants to go buy a horse tomorrow? You know, in the city ordinance, I don't think you can have a horse in the city limits.
It just changed recently.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have
So
chickens.
that goes along with some of my concerns is what I'm asking. And I just don't see.
It's got to be 5 acres, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know my wife. She'll go get a horse tomorrow on a whim.
I believe
But-
there's somebody in the audience that has one. So that conversation being had.
It's just the concerns, you know, seeing more information, more things. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're going to move on now. We appreciate your input and we will take it. Oh, thought you can come speak.
Email questions.
Yeah. Email questions. We're glad to respond. And we'll, yes, ma'am. That's okay.
My name is Sarah. I own the 545, which is the first house on the right. Now hearing what they saying, it looks like you guys are going to take some of my land to do the street. Am I correct? Because when I called them, when I bought the house in 2013, they kept telling me it's eminent domain, but yeah, I'm still paying taxes on the whole thing, paying mortgage on the whole thing. But now I know I sent an email, but I'm still a little confused. Is the plan to still take some of my land? And would I get paid if you
So-
guys take some of that
I'll-
land? Because I'm still paying mortgage.
I'll help you with that. First thing is Andover's not going to take land, but KDOT, no one takes land.
Right.
Eminent domain usually pays very well. So it will be KDOT.
Okay.
And if they take part of your land, you will get paid for it. And it's the last thing in the world we want to do. We've had to do it a couple times and we haven't taken any houses, but we've had to acquire land for right of way. So that could happen, but it's not, we won't take it, but it'll be a KDOT deal.
So how would you connect from YMCA to McCandless?
Until they come up with the phase 2 drawings, you know as much as we do.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
And
So for
there is
that-
there is some on our website you can find, I believe.
The plans for phase 2.
Preliminary drawings.
On a website, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll check. Thank you.
All right. All right. All right, let's move on. Thank you very much. We do appreciate you. All right.
Close
And at this time, I'll close the public hearing. Well, you all just got to take a breath, man. Give me a chance.
You forgot last time.
All right. Where are we at? Moving, 13.
We still need to do 12-1, sir.
Okay. So we now need to do the,
You still need to consider the resolution of intent if you'd like to move forward with the process.
okay. So I need a motion to do that?
Which number is that?
12-1.
12-1. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to adopt a resolution of intent to annex certain lands generally located on or near South McCandless Road, more specifically defined in such resolutions, and to set the public hearing to be held on February 10th, meeting of the governing body in the city of Andover.
Second.
Oh, man. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. All right, 13-1, public hearing, moving of structure to 1904 East Central Avenue. And who's addressing this?
Julie.
Julie's gonna address this, okay? Oh, I seen it right here in my writing. You had it on there, Dana. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, in the city of Andover, in order to move a structure onto one of the properties in the city, a public hearing has to be held before the governing body. Who knew? Thankfully less knew because I did not. In this case, the owner of 1904 East Central, that Green Meadow addition that you all approved recently, is wanting to move what is basically a little cabin that is over in Wichita right now onto the front part of the property that was just annexed, the Green Meadow addition.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
The property the destination property in Andover does already have an existing house on it. So this would be an accessory to that single family dwelling. So this is not a new dwelling that, will just be its own property. This is on the same property. It's all one lot. In this case, the applicant has applied for a conditional use permit to use this as an accessory dwelling unit to the primary dwelling, but that is not currently in place. That goes before the Planning Commission next week. So a week from this evening. The structure will be located at the south end of the property. I don't know if I have a map up here for you. And would have access to East Central Avenue, just like the existing house does. There's an existing driveway and all that in place. Staff send notifications for this, just like with any of our hearings, and we have not received any comments for or against. Can answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
will they be putting in a new driveway or it's going to use the existing one?
We haven't been told exactly if there's going to be a new driveway to the south or if they're going to use the existing one. They're supposed to only use the existing one because that's what the plat says. They get one access. So if that's not the case, then it would be a violation of their plat.
Okay. And then on the travel route, why aren't they just going down Central?
It's not tall enough. They got the bridge right there for KTA.
Yeah, we had some conversations with the owner when Mickey and I went out and did the inspection of the structure. And Tim, you're right on point. The structure on the trailer is something like 24 feet tall. It wouldn't fit under that bridge turnpike over Central Avenue. So their house mover has gotten the route approved to go out to Kellogg down the Andover Road, and they can wiggle through the traffic signal mast arms to get up to Central Avenue.
I'll add they did get approval from Sedgwick County. They issued their own approval to have this taken out and move it over here. And also Andover PD has been notified that this is incoming.
Do we charge sorry, Mr. Mayor, do we charge a fee for that buck or for police escort through town or anything like that?
There's going to be little on our part. We have been in contact with them. I heard it was going down Yorktown, from what I understand. So I could be wrong on that one, but that's the last I'd heard from Sedgwick County because they're communicating with Captain Graber. But no, we don't charge at all, but it's not going to take that long. Kind of like the B1 when it came through.
Right.
enough to make sure they clear the lines and then they move them through.
I mean, this is, personally, I think it's great because I remember seeing that cabin growing up there by the big white house that they tore down. So, I mean, I don't know how old this cabin is. I mean, I'm assuming it's old, but I don't know what the history is. What's the history of this cabin?
We're
Darn
told
cool
it's
though, isn't it?
30-ish
Yeah,
years old
Okay,
How
that's
many?
it?
and
How many?
30-ish.
Okay.
Looking at the structure, I believe that because it's all modern plumbing, modern electrical, and the construction of the subfloor
Yeah.
appears to be modern construction.
And I like the thought we're saving a structure instead of sending it to the landfill or sending it for lumber. So,
Oh, I'd trade my house for it right now. Right there in that mud hole.
If we do, sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
If we do elect to approve this, when does it happen?
Once you approve it, they can move it within 6 months of you issuing that approval. I
Oh.
think they plan to do it this week.
Because they're going gangbusters out there on that project. It's amazing. All right. Any more questions?
Is this the same owner that owns the large piece of property? Or because it looks like on the
Yes.
survey that it was split.
The owner has approximately 39 acres in this lot, 40 acres behind it that he also owns, that he intends to sell.
But he did split this off.
He split an 80-acre tract into two plus or minus 40-acre parcels.
Okay.
That was the Green Meadow Edition final plat that you all approved.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. And he created a plat on this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's platted, it's zoned, it's annexed.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I
sir.
move we approve the moving of the structure at 1904 East Central Avenue, Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, we need to interrupt before you vote.
This is a public hearing. You have to
Oh, is it?
offer anyone in the public
Oh,
the
my bad.
opportunity to speak on the matter.
I'd read, it
Oh.
says that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read it
My
too.
bad.
So at this time, I open a public forum hearing to anyone's objection to this cabin coming into our fine city. Actually, it's still be in the county, correct? Butler County?
No, it is the city.
It's in the city.
Oh,
We annexed it.
I thought Guthrie lived as,
We annexed it.
It was recently annexed
Recently
and platted.
annexed, zoned and platted.
okay. I knew we did a little area. I didn't know we did his whole property. Okay, cool. All right, my bad. All right, anyone have any objections to this? All right, this time public forum's closed.
Now, Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the moving of the structure at 1904 East Central Avenue, Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion?
I do have a question, I guess. Why do we have to do a public hearing for this?
It's what the city code says.
Is it city- Okay. there you go.
Because what?
That's what city code says.
Okay.
Because we're moving a structure, or is that, or what's the part?
You know, I don't know exactly why it was written as Article 8 of the building code, but it is.
Oh, okay.
I will say this is one thing we're looking at moving into the UDM when we do the UDM revision, because it seems like something that is more in that auspice. But as of right now, it's what the code says.
Les, is that international building code, or is that our code?
The moving of structures is a local code.
Okay, okay.
It goes back decades. Most of the cities around Wichita adopted a moving code back when the highways were being built, when Kellogg was expanded, when the canal route was expanded, because there were a lot of houses that were being moved off of those highway routes that found their way out into the cities, and the cities wanted some part in the decision on where those structures would be moved to.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries 5-0. Oh, boy. 14-1, public hearing for amended 2025 budget and Matt will talk to us about this.
Happy Tuesday, Mayor and Council. I appreciate you letting me to speak to you tonight about the budget. On November 12th, we talked about the requested amendments to the 2025 budget. I won't go through them all again tonight unless you'd like me to, but I will stand for any questions prior to the public hearing. Maybe I should say I'll sit for any questions.
Matt, I know that recommendation came from the auditors because of the switch to KMAG and how we would need to recognize that.
Mhm.
You're still happy with moving from GAP to KMAG,
I'm
even
still
with the additional?
Extremely happy with that, yes.
Because this was one thing you were trying to get away from on the other one, right?
GAP has other additional reporting requirements that we didn't have to comply with.
But
This
it was, yes, it was a lot of liability
Mhm.
issues.
Yes.
But it was more the calculating of
pension
of liabilities that was the main issue there. If
So
there
ma-
are no further questions, Mr. Mayor, please open the public hearing.
Can open it. All right, this time I'll open a public hearing for the amended 2025 budget. If anyone would like to speak on it, feel free to do so. No one wants to talk about the budget except for Matt. So at this time, we will close the public hearing. And 2025 budget amendment approval. And again, this will
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is where we would entertain a motion from any of the governing body if you wish to move forward with the budget amendment.
Any questions or can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to approve the amended 2025 budget.
Second. Paul got it, I think. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. All
Thank you.
right. This is special use checklist, case number Z-SU 25-0003.
Mr. Mayor, can I interrupt? I am so sorry. This applicant was unable to stay tonight. So his request was if you need him here to make your decision, that you would table. But if you feel like you have the information you need in your packet to proceed. So I just wanted you to have that disclaimer. He spoke to me before the meeting started, so I wanted to pass that along for you to all decide how you want to proceed.
Council?
It's my biggest pet peeve, but you know,
I know.
I'm not going to cause any issues on my last meeting. If you have
Boy.
something that you're bringing to the city, please stay, and there might be a question. So,
You know who it was, don't you?
no.
Ben Lawrence.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he should know that.
Yeah.
And
You
that
should
is
know
my
better,
biggest
huh?
pet peeve too.
Send him an Instagram, all right?
Yeah. So whatever, but yeah, in the future, you need to stay, and I hope everybody else who stays on council and new people have that as just a big pet peeve as I did for
I think
many years.
I think we just need to be clear. This gentleman was here tonight and he said, I cannot stay that long, so please just table my item because it would be unfair for them to consider it without me here. And we suggested that it might not be controversial. If it's controversial or have questions, he made it very clear that he would prefer to have it tabled. So it's a little different than
It's,
we.
yeah, it's
presented.
not controversial. It's just the fact.
Yeah. So we good then? All right. This is an application requesting to allow for short-term rentals in the SF-2 Single Family Residence Medium Density District on a property generally located at 505 North Glenda Vaughn Road, Andover, Kansas. Oh. All right. Before we, gosh dang it. Before we proceed with the hearing, I'll ask this council if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from participating in this case because they have a conflict of interest?
No.
No. I will now ask if council, one more time, Ronnie. I will now ask the council if any of them have received any ex parte verbal or written communication prior to this agenda item which they would like to share.
No.
No.
Has the city clerk received any protest petitions on the case?
No, sir.
I now ask council members if they have all received copies of the drafts minutes of the Planning Commission for November 18th, 2025, which summarizes the hearing on the case.
Yes.
I now call on the city zoning's administrator to provide us with a report on the case.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is an application for a special use to allow for short-term rentals in the SF2 district, as the mayor so eloquently introduced. Short-term rentals in this case is like Airbnbs, Vrbo, and under city regulations, that has a 30-day time limit per renter. This is an approved special use under the SF2 district, just like it is under the SF1 district for a lot of residential properties. The requirement that we have that I mentioned in here is that there has to be sufficient parking for the number of people that could feasibly stay in this short-term rental. In this case, you can kind of see on the aerial, there's pretty big parking area available here, actually. I think they probably have more space than they are even required to have for this. Other than that, there's not really much to say. It's a permitted special use. The Planning Commission recommended approval at their meeting, and I have not received any messages since the meeting saying that someone is not in support.
So I'm assuming he's going to be renting the detached building for.
So yeah, it's like a
VRBO.
little apartment above the garage, is my understanding.
And you said 30 days minimum?
30 is maximum.
Maximum.
That's pretty standard in all rentals like that. So you're not living there full time. So it's appropriate.
Right. Has any written communication been received to the city clerk?
No, sir.
We would like to welcome everyone interested in this agenda item to come to the podium and give your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. The governing body has been provided with the draft minutes and the video of the public hearing has been made available, so limit your comments to information not previously shared at the public hearing held on November 18th, 2025. Does anyone from the public have any new information? No member from the public are here. Does the applicant have any further responses to the comment? The applicant is no longer with us here. Assuming council has received all the information they need on this case, you have received an outline of choices provided under state statutes for council action, KSA 12-757. Council, how do you wish to act? Easy.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just on I can't see that, there'd be a problem with this. On the northwest side of Teradyne, I'll say in general, didn't we approve VRBOs, Airbnbs over on that side as well? So, okay.
We have a number in the city that have gotten special uses.
In fact, we changed it where you could have them in the city, if I remember correctly. So again, council, how do you wish to act?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Where's it? I move, we accept the planning commission recommendations to approve the special use permit to allow for short-term rentals in the SF-2 single-family residential medium density district on the property generally located at 505 North, what is that? Glendevon Road.
Second.
I just want to say that it's great seeing that people are doing it the correct way.
Yes.
Because there's folks out there that have put their homes on Airbnb that are not part of, who have not done the correct process through here. So
I have an address.
Yeah, so this is great that the citizens of Andover are wanting to take time and do it correctly and do it well. I do have a question, Julie or somebody. Do we have standards for these, like smoke detectors and fire extinguishers and
So
like
it's
what we do
subject
for
to
hotels?
all the same residential code requirements that any new house would be.
Okay.
under the zoning code, we don't have anything additional that it has to provide except for parking, as I
Okay.
mentioned.
Do we inspect these properties?
We don't have like a short-term rentals are inspected every X days policy that I'm aware of. But it is when it was built and they got a certificate of occupancy for this house, it had to pass building inspection.
Do we inspect hotels at all? Do we do a yearly inspection hotel or anything?
Your fire department does inspections.
Okay. Chief Russell, is there, I mean, being, the supreme being of the Kansas Fire Division, do other cities do inspections for their VRBOs or be anything that you know off the top of your head?
I'm thinking fire hydrants, are they required in a VRBO where they're not necessarily in a home? I know when I was a foster parent, I had to have fire extinguishers in the home all the time. I know you'd like us to, but I was wondering, do they, like other business, have to have a fire extinguisher in a short-term rental?
Yeah, I hate to disappoint you all in me, but I don't know.
Well,
but
Airbnb and VRBO have requirements that you have to meet
Right.
in order to be able to be accepted. And
I've stayed at a few that probably have been accepted, but they slacked.
Yeah.
So
I would think that, it's past that part of it.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Mayor, I think what you're referring to is maybe KDHE code, and that has to do with care of others in regards to fire sprinkler systems and stuff.
if you would allow me, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to get the answer from the guy who actually knows.
Yes.
And I'll get back to you and let you know. I think what the answer is they are required fire extinguishers. They are required smoke alarms. And we do not have a inspection policy for these properties.
Yeah.
But I'll get the real answer for
That's
you and come back.
reasonable, though, not to inspect every one of them. It'd be impossible, right?
and if we did, we'd have to pass something in order for that to happen, and then MABCD would be scheduled to go do that when one of these are approved or before they're approved, right?
For the fire code, we would still do the fire code inspections.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Persons aggrieved by the final decision of the council on this matter have 30 days after today's action within which to appeal to the district court. Right, onward and upward. (16-1) Southern Hills First Edition amended drainage petition resolution of advisability and developers agreement. And Jolene will speak to us about this if she's still awake.
Yes, I'm still very much awake. Mayor and council members, tonight before you is a revised petition for drainage improvements, also an amended developers agreement and amended resolution of advisability related to the drainage for Southern Hills First Edition. On January 28th of 2025, you accepted the original drainage petition for this development. And you may have remembered that we have already amended some of the petitions. The sanitary sewer improvements were amended at your July 29th meeting. We did have a bid opening and they did exceed the petition amounts, resulting in this requirement for amended petitions and the remaining documents as well. A repetition fee was not administered to this project as the original petitions were submitted to the city clerk prior to your approval of the resolution setting the repetition fee. And the date you did that was May 27th. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to stand for them.
Any questions? Can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Like to make a motion to accept the revised petition for drainage improvements, approve the amended developers agreement, and adopt an amending resolution of advisability related to the Southern Hills First Edition.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 16-2, Southern Hills First Edition amended work ordinance. And again, Jolene will speak to us on this matter.
When you amend the petition and resolution and developers agreement, you also need to amend your work ordinance. So that is the ordinance before you tonight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt an amending ordinance authorizing the construction of the certain internal improvements related to the Southern Hills First Edition.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 16-3, bid award Southern Hills Stormwater Improvements. And Rick will talk to us about this.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Noah Construction was the low bidder on this project that is, well, the work's already been talked about a few times here in bids. And NOAC has performed a lot of projects similar to this work in our community already. And we would recommend the award to NOAC Construction for this work. The contractor is ready and willing to go to work.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the lowest qualified bid from Noah Construction Company Incorporated, Goddard, Kansas, in the not to exceed amount of $814,099.45 and reject all other bids and authorize the mayor to sign the contract for stormwater improvements to serve Southern Hills Edition.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 17-1, small tract plat. I don't know how to say that word, or the next one, addition. Hein,
Mine and my.
The Hin and My edition.
Huh?
Hin and My.
Hin and my.
In and my
My
addition.
understanding.
And obviously Julie's going to speak about that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have a small tract final plat for you here, also sometimes called a one-step final plat, because there is no preliminary plat that has to go with this. That is allowed because this is fewer than 10 acres in size and fewer than 5 lots would result from the platting process. In this case, there would be 2 total lots, one that's about 4.6 acres and one that is about 1.6 acres. Both of these would retain their existing SF1 single-family residential low-density district zoning, and both of them would be compliant with regards to bulk regulations after this quote-unquote split. There is an existing sanitary sewer line running through an easement that is basically right where the dividing line is to be, that you can see there with the dashes. There is Wichita Water along the south side of West Harry to the south here. One thing that is not adequate on this property right now is fire protection. The nearest hydrants are at intersections to the east and to the west and just outside of the required range. So the owner does intend to build at least one new house here, and they will be required to put in at least one hydrant in order to do that for fire protection on that house. Yeah, that's about it. This is a pretty small plat that is surrounded by developed land, other residential properties, and it already had a house on it that was torn down, and they want to get some houses installed. Stand for any questions.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So I saw on the next slide, I don't know if Trey's got that or not, but there's 3 buildings on the property. Is
So
that,
there's like a pad where there used to be a house that there's not a house on. There's an accessory building that is kind of set back a little bit. That's not a house, but it is almost house sized. And then there is an actual home. And they want to split and then have a home on each of these 2 resultant lots.
yeah.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move we accept the dedications of the land for the public purposes of Hein and My addition small tract final plat.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. AVIRB ordinance. Ordinance authorizing an issue of an IRB Series 2025 AV Apartment LLC, AV Apartments. And Jenny will speak to us on this.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this project has been a long time coming. It started way back in 2022. Some of you weren't even on the council at that time. It was then AV. You know it today as Buffalo Ridge. And so phase one is complete and those are being leased. Because phase one is complete, they have a strong motivation to have you approve this ordinance. You approved way back in July of 2022, the resolution of intent to issue the IRBs and to give a 70% tax abatement on this project. If you do not approve this and they do not close on these, then the portion that's complete will go onto the tax rolls in whole next year. And so they do not want that to happen. So JT is going to be very busy as bond counsel, finishing this and many other bond issues before the year ends, because that is a motivation for many bonds to close at year end. This has been an ongoing long-term project. So I think everyone's pretty familiar with it at this point. There will be a phase two, and I believe that is going to happen sometime. They have pushed back. It was going to be somewhat like immediately. Less, that's probably pushed back deeper into 26, maybe mid-year. But phase two should be coming next year.
Does anybody have any idea what their saturation is right now?
I do not know their vacancy.
No clue. Doesn't matter. I'm just curious. All right.
Didn't they come to a workshop this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we talked about that
Yes.
for a while.
Yes. Mr. Brand.
Yeah.
And Brandon Wilson was with him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it did. I just remembering that conversation, and it didn't sound like it was, a lot of favorable going backwards to give them that. I mean, if we do it, that's fine, but we don't have any other ones that could come back and ask for something in the rears, right?
To be clear, you approved your intent to give this abatement in 2022. This is the last step in the process to authorize the actual sale of those bonds. They're buying their bonds themselves. So this is just, at this point, we're at a financing stage. I don't know legally if you can
Something
undo
different?
that.
The connection fees.
Was it something different they were
I thought
asking
it was
for?
sewer.
Connection fees.
Yeah, it was sewer
That's
connect.
what it was.
Their general, in my opinion,
Yeah.
their general contractor did not do his due diligence. And when they got hit with this $700,000,
large,
$800,000 deal, they wanted the city to consider.
To
So-
go in
yeah.
the rears to credit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was over.
Mhm.
And then that's part and parcel why we've recently done our,
Yeah.
because about the doors,
Uh-huh.
JT's, guess.
Yep.
No, I was just going to point out, it's the same project. It actually doesn't have anything to
To
do
do
with
with
the
this
approval.
part of it, it
Right.
was, yeah, yep.
I think the only reason they came to us and spoke to us then is because they would get it on the second phase. Yeah,
Mhm.
they would get it
Yes.
on the second phase.
Right.
That's why.
And that was fine. It's just that we didn't want to set the precedent for
Right.
other ones that were in that same process. So,
Correct.
yeah.
And is there a reason, Jenny, then why it took so long? Because is it normally this long?
I think I can answer that question.
Oh, thanks, JT.
You really got to go back here. AV Apartments was originally started, and the agreements were originally made with owners that are no longer around.
Right.
And so when that became a more or less failed project, this developer bought the company and has basically just accepted the duties and obligations and the benefits of the bonds associated with going ahead and building what was anticipated by the Patels.
Mhm.
And then there was just a number of hiccups along the way, as there typically is when you take over someone else's projects. Les can tell you about the specific construction hiccups, but the initial the initial delay was really driven by this is the same company, but it has a completely different owner and developer at this point.
And I think we come out, I think Andover come out on top with the new
apartments,
developers.
yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt an ordinance issuing $24,058,010.45 in City of Andover Industrial Revenue Bonds for the purposes of purchasing, acquiring, constructing, furnishing, and equipping a commercial multifamily housing facility and paying certain costs of issuance thereof, and authorizing execution of bond documents relating to issuance, payment, and purchase of the 2025 bonds.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 19-1, weeds and grass ordinance, and Rick is going to speak to us about that.
Do you have the remote, Jenny?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you remember, seems like just yesterday, we talked about this at a workshop. And so I'm going to go through this presentation, but I'll go through it relatively quickly. And should you want to stop me and re-talk about something, just interrupt me and we'll try to get whatever you needed covered. Or not. Is there an on button on this thing?
Well, there you go. Can I get a motion?
Right away moving.
Trey, could you help us out? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, just give us a recap of it.
Okay, thank you. Well, if the clicker doesn't work, I'll ask Trey to move it along. So real quick, current practices on a lot of the arterial roadways, the city mows a lot of those properties that the resident or property owner should be mowing. The reason, historical background for that was that the council wanted these areas on these arterial roadways to have a higher and better look than what the weed ordinance would allow it to get to before it got mowed. We talked about this at our workshop, but there's a fair amount of staff time that goes into this. Has kind of grown over the years as more of the arterial roadways have been annexed into the city and we've grown. Some of the reasons or some of the issues with that is diverting staff from doing the things that street staff usually we want them to be doing, which is taking care of our streets, our pavements and such during the summer months, which is our busier months for that. On a peak month, we're spending about 127 hours on some of these properties. The current city ordinance allows the property to get up to 12 inches in height on a developed lot and 18 inches on height on a vacant lot. And then through the current notification process and everything else, it's usually 2 times higher or more by the time we can get somebody out there to mow it when we follow the process. So, obviously to keep these areas looking nice, well, let me back up and just go on here. So we looked at what the other areas around are doing, other communities. There are some that have it at 6 inch, there are some that have it at 8 inch, some have it 10, and a few that have it at 12, which is what our current ordinance is. Oh, I changed the red areas, but I forgot to change the index up there. It's actually black areas. And this map's kind of hard to see. You have to zoom in on an outlot on it, but kind of gives you an idea of where those areas are at. We went over those. We have already built up an address listing of what those are. Again, here's the top graph is what we're currently doing. The middle graph is the areas that would be absorbed by others mowing it. per the ordinance change and the policy change. And then the bottom would be what would be remaining for of those areas that would be right away mowing that would be the city of Andover would be taking care of. Proposed changes in the ordinance for you tonight is at your direction, we draft one with the 6-inch height on developed lots and 8-inch height on undeveloped lots. On passing of the ordinance, in January, we will mail out to all the property owners that are along there that we've been mowing and let them know, hey, we're going to stop mowing it and here's the process and such. And then we will do it again in March to give people a gentle reminder that the process has changed. I went through that pretty quick, but I know we spent quite a bit of time in a staff or in the workshop. And I would stand for any questions if you have any that would about this.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
One thing I'll point out, Rick, is that past governing bodies wanted the city of Andover to maintain the roads and look more appealing. I still want more appealing roads. I think, one of my things here is twofold. I don't want staff to do it, right? I want people to take care of their own property and do it themselves. And that graph that you had there on page 3 or 5 or whatever it was, we're cutting staff time in half at least, right?
During the peak mowing months, yes. Now, to be fair, that's, about a 3-month snapshot where it's rapidly growing and then it escalates up and down on either side of those months.
And then I also want the public to know too, that this starts the process. It doesn't mean that if your grass gets above 6 inches, penalties come right then, right? That starts the process. And because of a few bad apples out there not taking care of their yard, we had to implement this. So I appreciate staff doing this. I think it's needed and want to move forward with it.
Rick, when we say developed, are we talking commercial and residential?
Yeah, if it has a structure on it, would be developed.
Okay, perfect.
And realistically, it's just a handful of people who aren't participating like they should.
When you compare it to the city at large, yes. And I guess one could look at it like a little bit of a fairness, right? It's some property owners next door are taking the time to mow their property, but some have figured out that they can mow up to the sidewalk and let that area between like the sidewalk and curb. In a lot of cases, they figured out that city will just mow it if they don't. And I don't know that that's fair necessarily for the person next door is doing what they're supposed to be doing and mowing it too. But current ordinance does require them to mow it now. So that's not being changed in this ordinance. It's just the heights. And the reason we proposed doing something with the heights was because of the issue of wanting to look nice and not get crazy where you got grass, 2 feet tall by the time we could get there, do with the notification process and stuff.
I always liked it along Andover Road, but when one of the suspects, really doesn't matter if he mows his easement or not, because, well, there ain't been no paint on the freaking house for 30 years. So whether you mow in front of his dump or not, you still got a house that ain't had paint on it for 30 years, so there's just saying, if you got a property in the middle of Andover and the houses you rent don't have any paint on them, it doesn't really matter if the grass is mowed or not. So that's just my soapbox. Anyway.
So one thing I will say, we do remember that with tall grass comes lots of varmints, lots of insects, lots of rodents. So, if we at least keep the grass lower, that will prevent a lot of the nuisance that we all, snakes, rats, stuff like that. So, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I move we approve the ordinance amending chapter, was that 8, Article 2, Section
13.
Oh, that's 13. Sorry, my bad. 13, Article 2, Section 8-202 of the Code of City of Andover, Kansas, regarding the definition of weeds.
Second.
Y'all confused me with the numbers.
I can't see black either.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 26 calendar, council calendar, 20.1. Dana will talk to us about this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The proposed 2026 calendar of City Council meetings and workshops before you tonight for consideration as discussed at the September 8th City Council workshop include 2 extra City Council workshops on March 9th and June 22nd. Budget workshops will be held April 27th, June 22nd, and June 29th. These are all Monday nights. The March 9th additional workshop will be utilized to reduce agenda length and allow additional opportunity for governing body and staff discussion. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Sorry, what did you say on the March 9th one?
March 9th is an additional workshop. It will be utilized for further discussion of regular agenda items.
Okay.
This was the discussion we had prior to this year where we added 2 workshops to try, like we said, if we don't have anything, we can cancel them, but it seemed like we have more things to talk about than less. And so it just gives you one more meeting opportunity.
Especially when you have your sharing time now.
Yeah.
In the workshop. So you might not have 3, 4 or 5 items. You might only have 3. So it may spread things out a little bit. I just wanted to, not gonna affect me, but because I'm gonna still be at the lake on May the 26th. But just wanted to point that out for anyone who might, I guess, the day after a holiday, you know,
Memorial Day.
so if there's options where there, you could push it back an extra day, but just want to point it out unless you're all going to be here no matter what.
Some of us are boring and don't go to the lake, Mike. I'll be home cutting my grass.
All right, so what do we need, a motion?
There's no action identified on here. Do we need a motion to approve this?
My apologies. Yes, we would need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the 2026 council meeting calendar agenda item laid out by the esteemed city clerk.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 21, really? 21-1 CMB license conditional renewals. And again, Dana will talk about this.
Good evening again. CMB licenses are renewed annually. As part of the city's standard process, the police department and fire departments review CMB applications and facilities prior to placing this on your consent agenda, as you have earlier this evening. In addition to the city reviews, state level clearances, including the Kansas Department of Revenue, Alcohol Beverage Control, and the Kansas Bureau of Investigation background checks are required before licenses can be issued. This is the final city council meeting before the December 31st, 2025 expiration of the current CMB licenses. And we have one pending application from Oaks Golf. So we are requesting tonight your approval contingent upon receipt of those clearances from the state. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So the only difference here is between the other ones that were in the consent agenda items, this one hasn't been approved by the state. We're saying, go ahead and do it if they get the stuff from the state done.
Correct. And they've already started the process. They just have not received them back in the mail yet.
And we've never sold beer there at the golf course?
Yes.
You
yeah.
have, the state changed the process this year
Oh.
also, so I think that's probably fair to share. So the process took more time and they had to work directly with the state, whereas usually they start with Dana and we do that paperwork on the back end. State law changed and now they have to initiate the process with the state. So I think that took a little bit extra time.
Thanks for clearing that up, ladies. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the renewal of cereal malt beverage license for Oaks Golf contingent upon receipt of all required state and Kansas Bureau of Investigation clearances and verifications of compliance with city code, and authorize the city clerk to issue the license upon satisfaction of these conditions.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Member items, I'll start with Mr. Wimmer.
I will yield my time to the outgoing council member, Mike Warrington.
I'm gonna
Big
pull
enough
out my
paper.
little WAMPO thing from today, since it was my last WAMPO meeting. It was pretty interesting, you know, of course, except for like some definitions that were read for 7 minutes long. But now on the TIP, and one thing, Mayor, when you're, because they have tons of acronyms,
I
the
see.
second to the back page has a list of acronyms that WAMPO uses. And none of these are short, you know, so the TIP, which is the Transportation Improvement Program, staff is very familiar with that. They have only been using 85% of the funds in that year after year. So there's 15% extra funds available, and still now for 25, 26, and also for 24, 25, 15% of the funds. They are going to go back and look at other projects that could be moved forward with that extra money, and which could end up being a lot of millions of dollars. So
What'd they say
I
today,
don't,
Mike?
I didn't have a list of in the program today of the projects. They normally do no matter what, but for some reason they didn't have it. But if we have one that's near, a bid would be probably good to look at and see if that's something we can move forward. If not, then somebody else will probably love the extra money for their projects, but just keep that in mind that they've been holding back 15%. And I don't know why, but they just haven't used it. And I think it was they eventually do, or they hold it for projects that go over. But there's quite a bit of money there, and they didn't say how much, but they just said what was expected to be used, they only use 85%. So just keep that in mind when you're going back and looking at the TIP projects, and see if something that we can move forward with that helps us. So, and there was also $200,000 saved today too. So instead of hiring out a consultant, you know, for what was this? The Regional Active Transportation Plan Consultant. So instead of doing that, they're going to do that in-house. Use a little bit, but not 200,000. So they did a great job this past year and saved, I think, $1 million from last meeting that they didn't use WAMPO itself. So they got a little bit of extra, you know, internal, but they're doing, you know, good things to save money. So, and I'm sure that would be used for other, good projects. So, I wish the mayor luck with that. And I know sometimes it's, when they get long, they feel like they're long. And then you come back and you got 30 minutes to get ready for this meeting. That could last, till after 9 or later. So, good things. So, take advantage of that 15%, and that's awesome. But I do wish you guys, luck on moving forward with everything. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere, but if you need a ear to sound off on, or what did we do, in the past or something, give me a ring, and like I said, I can talk to you now. So, but it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you on the flip side.
I do appreciate you being there the last 2 meetings and walking me through the stuff, and so I had some idea of what I got myself into. So I'll forgive you later. All right. So I know we took a little bit long tonight with these folks, and we probably talked a little more than we should have. I know JT was getting nervous, and Jenny probably too, because we was going to say something we shouldn't. But I spent time with a lot of those folks before the meeting, as did Jolene. I appreciate you going out of your way to go up and get them the reality of what it is, and trying to explain to them we're not taking over your world. And because I've been through it with this, not, back in the day, like I say, man, it's a nightmare getting out of my neighborhood if I want to make a left-hand turn. So I understand the growth problems, but so I'd like to take a little minute just to let them know that the boogeyman's not coming, and, it's part of it. And you feel like saying stuff like, it's no different than the folks on the other side of 159 that love our city, but don't contribute outside of the 2-cent sales there. Is it 1 cent or 2? Hell, I can't remember. Heck, I can't remember. 2?
2.
So it's no different, really. They get all, hey, the one even said it, hey, the sheriff don't show up, Buck will, So we have to make hard decisions, and I appreciate council and staff being patient tonight with the conversations, because it is their lives, but it is reality that whether we annex them in now or we do it a month from now, the city's going to move in around them. It's coming, so, but I thank you for your patience, by the way. Homie.
Happy holidays to everybody. Hometown Christmas coming up on the 11th. So please join the festivities there, and I will yield the rest of my time to outgoing Councilman Phil Hamilton.
Ditto what Homer said. There is a slight change this year. It does begin at 4:30, so it's starting a little bit earlier, although the tree lighting will still happen at 6. It's just being placed more in the middle instead of right at the front, so hopefully more people can get there if they have a busy evening. That's all I got. Good luck to the new council members. I've talked to them many times. My wife's going to hate that I say this, but if you need to pick my mind from a numbers perspective, give me a call. Not every day. This has been fun. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot as a person. Tried to put the best version of myself up here and make decisions that I thought were right. Sometimes I felt like I might have to stand by myself, which is a little scary at times, but I was willing to do that to stand for what I felt was right for this community going forward. And sometimes those are not the most popular opinions to take, and took some heat for it. Had no clue what I was doing for the first 6 months of sitting up there. Keep that in mind, Colin. Big learning curve. I still sit up here and learn stuff every time during every meeting. I'm like, oh, didn't know that piece of history. Oh, didn't know that about that type of planning and zoning case. There's a lot of learning that had to take place before you decide, like, okay, here's where I see what's best for this community going forward. Maybe in 20 years, I'll come be the mayor. We'll see. my wife lets me do that. And that's all I got.
So I just want to thank Councilmember Warrington. He's been on here the whole time I've been on here. So Mike and I have butted heads a few times, but we came through it. That's kind of the point of this is to, we each have our own ideas, but Mike and I are good friends now. So I'm not saying we weren't back then, but
Yeah.
We came through. So I just want to thank you. I hope you enjoy your every other Tuesday free and your lake time while I'm out there cutting my grass.
I'll send you a text.
Yeah, send me a text.
No.
So 8 years, you got elected the same time Tim did, or?
No.
No.
So you've been on longer than 8 then.
Yeah.
Oh, we're 6. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we're
Yeah, you're
6.
six, yeah.
I'm not good at that math thing. I went to
Mike's
school
been
in
on quite a
Augusta.
bit,
Sorry.
so.
I just,
I want to thank Phil. Phil's always been a joy to sit next to. Pain in the butt sometimes, but he's been a joy to sit next to. So I just want to thank you and wish you the best. Congratulations on the new baby. The middle name is wonderful. I love the middle name. So Jordan Tucker. But wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Hometown Christmas is coming up. Unfortunately, I have a Kansas Municipalities League meeting that night, so I won't be able to be there. But my family will be there, so I hope everybody has a great time. Colin, welcome next month. Yeah, I didn't see Tim. Tim's nowhere, but Colin, welcome. Don't listen to anything Phil told you, but I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. God bless.
and think of that, and Tim usually mentions this, but these are tough times of year for a lot of people. I wrote a lady a letter today. She lost her husband a couple months back, I think. Terry Johnson. And so if you need help, call for help. And Tim, do you know the number?
What is the suicide? 811?
Yeah, that's
dig. That's dig.
One dig. 211. Okay.
211.
I knew it was something 11. I knew it wasn't 911.
I
But that's
think
a-
last year we had that on our social media. Is that something we could put back out again?
Yeah. So enjoy Christmas, and again, thank you, gentlemen, for what you've done for the city, and
I got one more shout out.
Okay.
My middle and my youngest kids, who are adults, really, they both graduate this weekend.
Oh,
So Bridger from WSU and Jane Margaret from K-State. So got a busy weekend.
So the youngster that was out in the tornado wasn't here tonight, right?
No, yeah, Bridger was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I met him in the dark,
Yeah.
so I wasn't sure. Mike screaming at his kid, "Get in the house, get in the house." Where's the tornado? Get in the house.
We were on FaceTime with him. We were up in Manhattan, and he filmed it all the way coming through our neighborhood until he ran downstairs and then saw everything go up in the air. So, and then people were looking for him, and the mayor was looking for him, and he was actually helping our neighbors, elderly neighbors who had things destroyed really bad, and so it was
I do want to say one more thing, Mr. Mayor. Our wonderful staff here at City Hall has put together, I don't know if it's been released yet. Megan, the ACE program, has that been put? Okay. So there is a wonderful ACE program out there for the citizens of Andover. Take a look at it. I'm sure someone else can explain it a whole lot better, but I kind of see it more of a citizens on patrol type thing for city staff.
and good for new city council members.
Yes, it's
too.
great for new city council elected officials. So be on the lookout. Look on city's Facebook page for it. If you want to see what's going behind the scenes, what city staff does, it's going to be a fantastic program. It's something that I've kind of pushed for this and then a youth council, but we're working on that one. So
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our outstanding city administrator got an award, and I don't know the acronym. I'm sorry, but she gave the first speech, and everybody in the room stood, give her a standing ovation, and no one else wanted to follow her, and no one else got the standing ovation she got for the speech, and it was truly amazing. And I'm super proud of you and the team you put together. All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Hang on.
Oh.
Let's put the two new ones, or two going out ones.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Class. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
What? No.